Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Red Path. It's another episode of Skulltakers, and today I'm joined by the wonderful leader of the Jack Pack. It's Josie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying the sun. It's all good at the minute.
Yeah,
Great
hell yeah.
weekend.
Nice. So you were recently returned from Ireland, from Dearg Doom 3, an event that I actually ran. Check it out if you are thinking about coming to an event in Ireland, everyone. As Josie will tell you, it's easily the best tournament in the entire world, with no TO bias towards people and no bullying whatsoever.
I mean, it really was a very good event, to be fair.
It was pretty
It was really
fun.
good fun.
I think you traumatize and terrorize an awful lot of people. Like, not just your opponents. Everyone was scared about playing into it. But, without talking too much around it before we get into the actual list and stuff, how did you find the tournament? Was it fun? Obviously, like you do a lot of UKTC, right?
I do,
So
yeah.
it's
No, it was a really fun event to do. In terms of the actual space, it was gorgeous. Like walking through Cork University, the grounds, and just looking at all the buildings on the way in was fantastic. It was a lot different from the standard packed into a sports hall like sardines sort of experience that you can get in the UK events sometimes. And it's partly, they get 600 people, they try and get 1,000 people into a building. It's going to be a little bit less pleasant than Dearg Doom, which I think was 50 players in the end.
yeah, not bad
And there
that.
was a nice space between tables. It was just a lovely experience, and it was still super competitive, super busy. It was great.
Yeah, nice. Well, glad you had fun. But yeah, so you brought the Jack Pack,
I
which
did.
is wild. Just talk us through it. Just rip the band-aid off. Why the Jack Pack?
Okay. Partly this came from, honestly, list spiraling. I was running a lot of Gore Track previously, and then Knights and Death Guard came about, and I looked at my Gore Track list and I said, I cannot win games with this list. Not if everyone's running Knights and Death Guard and all sorts of stuff. It was never going to happen. It's a really difficult list to compete with in that sort of situation. So I started looking at what I had, what I was comfortable with, and of course, I still have all of the jackals in the world from last year when I took them to LGT, and that sort of formed the basis for what I was going to try and practice and test with. And I sort of cooked up a little bit of a list. And I'm like, okay, this it can play into Discard. It can play into Knights if the Knights don't take a billion Gatling cannons and things that kill Horde really easily. Um, there's a lot of Knight lists at the minute that are building to beat Knights, and if Knight lists are building to beat other Knight lists, they don't beat Jackals. That was kind of where I started with that. And into Death Guard, similarly, you can just put on Dev Wounds and pray that you kill enough of the Death Guard Terminators before they sweep through your entire army. That was the idea. So yeah, the list initially had a two very, very big pieces, and one of them ended up getting cut. I'll sort of talk through that as we get into the list. But we still have one giant piece in the list.
I wonder what it could be.
So yeah, this list ended up being two Demon Princes. I gave one of them Brazen Form, makes him T11, 5-up Field of Pain. He becomes an absolute monster to deal with. But even just the standard Demon Prince profile is very nice when you can surround him with a horde of angry infantry who can keep him from getting tagged by too many things. You can give him loan up, and the Demon Prince helps them in return. It's a really nice thing that the list does with Demon Princes supporting Jackals. It's an interesting play for the detachment. On top of them, we added in a Slaughterbound. Slaughterbound on his own makes no sense in the detachment. He has one enhancement for called Butcherlord. It lets him join a squad of Jackals or Goremongers. In practice, it's you join 20 Jackals every time. There's some niche cases where you could say, okay, he's going to join some Goremongers. They're going to go try and charge something turn one. But then instead of losing 85 points of Goremongers, you're losing 180 points of a unit of Goremongers plus a Slaughterbound. And they're really not that difficult to kill. So in practice, he ends up just running with Jackals every time. They become a really difficult unit to kill, and the amount of damage that man can do with 20 Jackals is incredible. We mapped it out at one point beforehand, and I think with all of the buffs up, which is not actually very difficult to do, his unit does 23 damage to a big knight, which a
Ooh.
big knight player is never going to expect. You run that into a Chaos Knight guy with 6 bigs, he's not going to pop -1 damage. He's being attacked by cultists. He says, how many attacks have you got? And I say, I've got like 70 attacks, but 50 of them are damage 1. Is it worth doing? Are you going to pop -1 damage against that? They go, nah, not going to bother. And then they lose a knight, which is just a hilarious thing that I never got to try. I was hoping all through the event that I wouldn't have to try it, to be honest. But yeah, it's some impressive damage output on the unit.
It's
So yeah,
pretty
we got
weird.
those.
Like you just don't think about those buffs. You know, the +1 to hit wounds.
Yeah, yeah,
Your
because we sort
rerolls on
of,
the
as you tick up the buffs, it's amazing. Because Jackals with no buffs, I think, do, even with the Slaughterbound in the unit, I think it was 3 damage.
Mm. Yeah, I'd
And
believe
you
that.
can just keep clicking buttons, popping strats, popping abilities, and it just juices up and up and up until you don't even recognize what the unit's doing anymore.
It
It's
reminds me a lot
amazing.
of the AC/DC brick in cults in Chaos cults. You know, where
Yes.
you're like, look at it, and you're like, all right, whatever, and then yeah, but this and this and this and this, and you're like, okay, suddenly it is actually just killing most of the things in the game
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
exactly. Where's my unit gun? That's rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 characters, they're very basic guys. They just support the units. 1 brick of Goremongers. I didn't want to go too hard on Goremongers. They do get all of the buffs from Cult of Blood, but in practice, you're either infiltrating them, in which case they're too far away from your idols to get the buffs, or you're playing them back a bit further, in which case, why don't you just take in 10 Jackals instead? They don't have the damage 2 that you can get in a Jackal brick. It's like taking 8 out of 10 Jackals, missing out the ones that are good at melee, and adding 20 points to the brick. If you don't use the infiltrate, there's no point taking them.
Yeah.
And if you use the infiltrate, you don't get much out of Cult of Blood. 1 brick stops enemy scouts, it stops enemy infiltrators, and it still lets you make a bit of a play turn 1. You can still run them into something and pop hit rerolls. It's probably only reroll 1s unless you run up a lone up Demon Prince as well. But they can still do reasonable amounts of damage and sort of give you that early pressure. So Skullmongers are good. I wanted to run more Jackals. I really did. I could only stretch to 80. Which is a
It's a
silly thing to think
respectable
about.
amount. I mean,
It's
what did
still
you
a
have for
respectable
LGT?
amount.
Was it 120?
110 at LGT. I
110,
didn't go
yeah,
to I
yeah.
didn't go all the way to 120 because I needed 10 to sit in my backfield.
Look, inflation has hit all of us, including the
Exactly.
jackals.
So I could only afford 2 of the big bricks of 20 in this list. I would have liked to take more, but 20s are more expensive than 10s. So you kind of have to ration where you go with that. So I took 4 bricks of 10. They're still fantastic for being a 65-point unit that is reliably quite difficult to kill. Most of the things that like to skirmish in the midboard, they actually don't like trying to kill 10 jackals. Not what do you put, even just the 5-up field of pain on them. They don't have that native invuln from the Demon Prince that we used to have in the index, but they're toughness 4, and in practice that is -1 to wound compared to what you had previously a lot of the time. Like, people are used to killing toughness 3 cultists, and then you say, okay, yeah, but they're marine toughness actually, and bolters are winning them on 4s. So many things that are quite good at killing infantry is winning them on 3s instead of 2s. And as long as you only have to make like 14 or less saves, you probably don't lose 10 jackals, which surprises a lot of people. So the 10s are fantastic for playing the game. They score objectives, they do actions, they go and die where they're meant to die, in the way the jackals always used to. And the 20 mans, you've got one with the slaughter ban, one without. They both get massive juice. You can give them a lot of durability, you can give them a lot of damage, you can give them actually quite a lot of both at the same time. And they do a lot of work. I mean, 20 jackals is 140 points. They can still pick up 5, 10 marines fairly reliably. One of my games, I ran them into an ACDC brick, and that's fine. That ACDC brick that everyone's scared of, yeah, okay, I've let it kill 10 jackals. I'm going to kill it with 20 of mine now. And I've trained it up. They're very good at trading up if they go into the right things. So yeah, we have 80 jackals, 8 goremongers, 88 cultists. Khorne is happy. I'm happy. I wish I could take 30 more, but I can't really argue with 88. And then on top of that, we've got some good stuff. 1 unit spawn, 1 Forge Fiend with the Ectoplasma, of course, and 1 Hellbrute with Fist and Hammer. There's an argument in some detachments for the Scourge instead of the Hammer, but in this detachment, especially with Jackals, I don't kill vehicles very well. I especially don't kill 2-up armor vehicles very well. The hammer doesn't actually do it that well either, but at least it can.
But you
It's
never know, right?
exactly it can do work in a way
Yeah.
that I just can't do with jackals. And then my big boy for the list is the Khorne Lord of Skulls, who's just wonderful in theory, maybe sometimes. It's an awful lot of shots. It's nice that it's a fairly unified profile. They're all strength 14. You get to say to your opponent, like that they ask you, okay, so what are the profiles? Okay, well I say the anti-tank one is AP4, it's D6 plus 2 damage. The anti-infantry gun is strength 14, AP3, damage 3. And I oh, how many shots is that? Like it's 2d6 plus 3, so it could be like 15 shots. And they're oh, my Terminators though, like yeah, it hits on 4s. I might hit you 3 times. I might hit you 12. There is no way of improving that. So you get to play the game of how lucky you're feeling today, because it's a lot of Skulls is fantastic in theory. In practice, he's not as tough as you want him to be. T13 is fantastic into las cannons. If you're against an opponent who has an army of las cannons, make him wound on 5s. He doesn't even want to shoot the big guy because you've got a Hellbrute around, you've got a Forge Fiend around, you've got Demon Princes around. You want to shoot them because you could actually wound them. But if you're against things that have a low strength 14 or a lot of lethal hits or a lot of any of the ways that most armies actually deal with big things, he folds like paper sometimes. He's 3 up armor. 5 up invuln's great, but it's a 5 up invuln. Like it's not reliable.
Yeah.
And he's not got the 28 wounds that big knights have nowadays. But he is fantastic damage. He gets 6 damage, 8 attacks in melee. He can sweep for 18 attacks that will just melt any Marine squad. In theory, he's very, very swingy, and I don't think a 505 point unit should be swingy. But it's nice that my opponent has to respect the swings up as much as I have to expect the swings down.
I mean, a lot of people like to play like what we call here like safe hammer, where it's like mitigating their risks. And I mean, if I was playing into it, I would not be the person who's like, I'm going to roll the dice and see if the class can kill me. Like I know in practicality it can just do poorly. I don't know if I want to run that risk because like if you run that risk and it shows up, you're just like, oh, I have lost way more than I thought I was going to, and then you're laughing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a freaky unit. I feel like those unpredictable units, which we have quite a few of now,
Yeah,
are just they're really hard to play around because you just kind of like shrug your shoulders and say, I don't know what it's going to do. Want to take the risk?
yeah, and I think the Lotus Skulls likes playing in Cult of Blood more than any other detachment because he's not in a rush. If you want to play with 1,500 points of your army, leave the Lotus Skulls behind a wall waiting for his chance. It still takes your opponent a really sizable commitment to get into those jackals and to clear the jackals. So you can just wait. I'm on the midboard. I'm scoring points. I'm playing my game. Until you come out, the Lotus Skulls is waiting, and he will always get at least one opportunity to do something before he inevitably either dies or just gets ignored for the rest of the game. And either of those is quite sad for him. But he always gets to go first with the ability to walk through walls and the fact that he moves 12 inches in World Eaters. I think that the CSM one moves 8.
8, yeah.
And he doesn't walk through walls. It's such a different unit.
Yeah, he's Drift King. Gotta love
Absolutely. And I love the guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, as I alluded to, for a while I had the Lotus Skulls and Angron in this list. And then I realized that it was, I think, the Friday before list sub. I looked at my list again and I was like, okay, I can kill knights. I can't really kill much else with this. This has gone way too hard on the big guys. So I took Angron out, and Angron swaps out very neatly for my second Demon Prince in this list, and a Hellbrute, and bumping up the Jackals to 80. And I really value actually all 3 of those units. I would have liked Angron several times, but I don't think there's any of my games where he would have got more value than having all 3 of those in a list, which is possibly a sad thing to say about Angron at the minute, but it's where he's at. And especially in Cult of Blood, you can't res him. Jackals do nothing without blessings.
For
The list does not function without blessings. So if Angron's dead, he's dead. Maybe you try and res him turn 5 and go for a YOLO charge.
Yeah.
But you can't ever rely on that happening.
It's an interesting one. I really like the list. It's fun. I love the freak Hellbrood in there, just being like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, I've always said like I every list I've written tries to get a Hellbreath in it.
Hmm.
He very rarely, he's even at 120 points, he very rarely actually makes those points back. But your opponent has to play the game differently with a Hellbrute in your list. They have to respect what it could do.
Yeah.
And a lot of what this list does is trying to make my opponent respect what I can do while I just trickle up points.
The whole list is like it could do something. I don't know if it will. And
Exactly.
that
Like
is
you,
hard to play around for sure.
yeah, exactly. And I like those lists that where I don't have to take the risks necessarily.
Yeah,
I get to wait for my opponent to take a chance, and then I get to respond, and
makes
that
sense.
makes 40k a lot easier to play for
Absolutely.
me at least.
Alrighty, let's kick into it. Let's talk about these games. We're going to go through them round by round. You can give us the highs and the lows, and the main kind of takeaways from each one. So, what did you have for round one?
Ramon, I had Andrew Wilson with his CSM. It was a packed bound list, so the list where you can sort of pack for five up, crits on fives with a bunch of stuff, lots of sustained, lots of lethals. It was a really interesting list. It had sort of a couple of Havoc units, a couple of Warp Challenge units, a whole sort of mixture of stuff, and it all does quite well in CSM. And he had a couple of little War Dog allies as well. I think it took a Brigand and an Executioner, and they're both quite good. There were a lot of auto cannons in that list, a reasonable amount of las cannons with the Havocs. I think it was like 12 las cannons in the list, so there's enough threat that if they could do damage to a Colossus or to anything else. And a couple of those massive possessed bricks.
Hmm.
And I was reasonably confident about, like, at a glance, this list doesn't look like all that much. And then you look at what 10 possessed does to any unit in the game, and I lose a lot of skulls in one activation. That's 500 points dead to 240. There's nothing I can do about it if they connect. Lots of very high threat units, but only no, a couple of very high threat units, and a lot of units that can do quite well. The Warp Talons, even like 5-man Warp Talons, they should probably pick up 10 Jackals. If they do that, they get to go back up in the sky, and I've accomplished nothing, and I've only got so many screening units.
Yeah, you can only do that simulation a very finite number of times before you're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. I think taking hold helped me a lot here, and going first was the big thing that helped me in this game. I went first actually in every one of my games. This is the only game where I wanted to go first.
Mm.
Because we played GW maps. GW map 1 is fantastic. It has the house,
The
which is
house.
a wonderful place to stage up.
How
Especially
many
for this
jackals can
kind
you
of,
fit in the house?
if I touch on the terrain an awful lot, but even without that, I think I had the Brick of 20 and the Slaughterbound with a Demon Prince in behind, with a Hellbrute tucked in behind as well,
Oh,
waiting
come
for it.
on.
Like it was all of this stuff that he just couldn't deal with.
Yeah.
And there was a lot like you could come down this way and find an angle, but if you walk down this way and find an angle with tanks, I've got a lot of skulls sat behind a wall.
Yeah.
And on GW1, I made use of it the entire first day. You can set up the Blood of Skulls pretty much safely in your own deployment zone. Nothing can shoot him. And from where he's standing, he can touch the mid-board ruins, or he can touch the sort of small ruin that's on your board edge. He can just waltz out, see the board, and start having fun.
I think I
So
saw the Corn Lord of Skulls in that exact position, like more than I saw any other model across the entire weekend when I was walking around on the table, like,
yeah,
oh, I wonder
he
where
knew
the
where he
Lord of
wanted to be.
Skulls is.
Absolutely. So he was
Yeah.
staged up. Yeah, so I went first. It was fantastic. I put some spawn on one objective. I put 10 jackals on another objective, and I say, okay, what are you going to do about it? Not one of your units costs anything close to 65 points, and your Warp Talons, they do you want to charge spawn with Warp Talons? That's a very risky proposition for both of us.
Yeah, jeez. That's weird.
Especially when I put Fight on Death up as well. And I was like, okay, maybe you kill one. If you kill one spawn but not two,
That could kill
there's
the
still a
unit.
chance I Fight on Death and just pick up 5 Warp Talons.
Yeah.
It's a really difficult one. So I just staged up, nice and easy. Turn 1, didn't commit anything really, and he didn't take any of the baits, which is completely reasonable. He staged up in his house instead. And the big problem about GW1 is if you stage up in your house after your opponent is set up in theirs, They can touch you
Oh yeah.
incredibly easily.
Your house is about to be invaded by the neighbors.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Turn two, I just went for it. I had a bit of he gave up the 15 on primary. He let me score points. I was like, okay, you are here. It's my turn to be here. So I committed absolutely tons in that turn too. I sent out the Lord of Skulls to sort of peek into his house because he had some of the knights out there. I sent the Slaughterbound Brick. I sent the Hellbrute. I sent both Demon Princes. So almost like 800 points of my army is in the midboard. Kloss is walking around the ruins now, getting sights on stuff as well. It was a massive go turn, but Cult loves having this massive go turn because of what you can do with the idol abilities.
The double
So
buff one?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I very rarely did for the entire game because it's not often that your opponent sort of gives you the opportunity to go for it. But the ability to double up on an idol is fantastic. Usually, you use it to pop 4 up Invan for a second turn because it's such a good defensive tool. In this one, I said, okay, +1 hit and wound, army wide, and this Demon Prince here is giving up a 4 up Invan. And in go the Jackals, in go everything else. And we picked up a pretty good amount of stuff. 10 possessed in the midboard, they're gone. 5 warp talons, they're gone. Both the war dogs, gone.
Ooh. That's
just
good.
obliterated.
Yeah.
We picked up, we tagged both of the rhinos afterwards, so the Havocs had to get out if they wanted to do anything. Of course, they could happily get out because there were 2 Demon Princes in front of them, but still. We very, very, very early managed to get into the second brick of Possessed as well. The failure for that was my borrowed Demon Prince, my own one. He made it in where he wanted to go. I borrowed an old Demon Prince for my second one, and game one, I think it was my first charge. It was actually my first charge that I went for in the entire tournament. 3-inch charge.
Oh, that was that one.
Yeah, the very first charge I went for, going into a War Dog. I rolled +1. Okay, that's fine. I'll just re-roll that. I can re-roll it for free. Here's a free CP from a Demon Prince. Fantastic. +1 again.
Yeah, great. Wonderful.
If I make that charge, I get to kill the knight that was in the midboard because a Hellbrute was also charging it. So Hellbrute picks up this knight. Demon Prince can then pile into the second brick of Possessed, and he'll pick up half that squad on his own in that turn because we put up lethal sustained. We went for the buffs. And that ends the game instantly. As it was, the brick of Possessed could come out and play the game next turn. They picked up my Demon Prince. The Havocs didn't quite do enough, but he fairly sensibly made the choice to just not even worry about the Lord of Skulls. I can't kill this thing. I'm going to try and kill everything else. And he killed a good amount of everything else. But then that second wave can still come out of... and because I hadn't picked the 4 up Invan yet, I got turn 3. Everything else with the Lord of Skulls now wandering into the midboard, putting out a 4 up Invan, had it, and I could just jam all that down his throat and sort of pick up what was left. It was my only comfortable win in the entire event. It was 87-38 in the end.
Very nice. I've always dreamed about having that big push turn where you're like, I'm going to do the extra idle thing early. But yeah,
it was fantastic. A really, really good start to the event. And nice. Andrew did very well as well. He went 3-2. I was looking at this for a little game report myself a while back. Every one of my opponents this event went 3-2 or better. It was very rude. You kept pairing me into good players. It was very difficult.
I keep getting these complaints, and it's it's what it is.
It was a nice round one, a good warm up. We both played a really friendly game, and it just descended into a brawl by turn 2 even.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when you do the big push, it's just going to get real ugly after that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. All right. What we got in round 2?
Round 2 was Connor Crowley and his Tau. I had no idea what to expect from this game. It was Retaliation Cadre, so the one that sadly, it gets better the closer you are to it. So he had 2 Flamer bricks with the Crisis suits, and they go up to strength 5 AP1, ignoring cover, and just melt Jackals if they get anywhere near them. He had the double ghost kill. He had 2 hammerheads. So Lord of Skulls was not happy about that. Railgun Hammerheads, very, very good damage into big stuff. A couple of like Kroot units, 2 Riptides to go with the 2 Ghost Kills, a few Stealth Suit units, because apparently they're just fantastic for guiding stuff in Tau nowadays. So lots of suits. Not much of it very good at killing Jackals. The two Crisis suits are a massive problem. Lots of it very, very good at killing Lord of Skulls. I feel like this was a list that was built to kill Knights, and it probably does that very well.
There's a point where you're firing hammerheads into jackals.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
And we're very happy they don't have that. What was it, the ninth one, the pulse submunition thing?
I don't want that. We don't want
Yeah.
that at all. No. So on most missions, this is quite good for me. In the end, we were on Scorched Earth, which is quite bad for me if I go first because it's a hold 2 mission, and it's very, very easy to hold 2 on this map. Sadly, I went first, which means I'm almost immediately sort of playing with a big points deficit because it's incredibly easy. On a lot of missions, you can get 15 points very easily a second. Scorched Earth, you can very easily get 20.
Yeah.
Very comfortably come away with a 20-point turn 5.
If you just play out your game carefully, you know exactly what your turn 5 board state needs to be. You're just going to bank in 20, no problem.
Exactly. So I went first, not good. I got no secondaries I could score turn 1. I drew Bring It Down and overwhelm with Force. No
Wonderful.
points. Not ideal. I only got four secondary points in turn 2 as well. But yeah, I played it KG first turn. That uppy downy crisis brick is an absolute monster. It will just pick up jackals like nothing, and I can't put a 4-up input on for the entire game. So I have to not let it shoot jackals for as long as I can. Gave it nowhere to drop, nowhere good to drop at least. So he just decided not to. He also played a very passive turn 1, but he did threaten one of my demon princes. I sort of put him out front and I was like, he's got loan up, he's going to be fine. And Connor took a little bit of that bait and set a ghost kill out to shoot the demon prince. It did like 2 damage or something. The big guns did nothing, and as expected, it could pop off, but demon princes are pretty tanky boys.
Yep.
So after I drew my secondaries, turn 2, and I was like, oh, I'm not scoring anything in this game. I decided to risk it instead. So I sent out into a 160-point ghost kill 1 entire load of skulls.
I remember watching you do that.
Knowing full well that he was going to go out, he was going to kill. He better kill the ghost kill. There was a real chance he wouldn't because stealth drones and stuff. Hopefully, he kills this ghost kill, and he's going to die afterwards. But once the Lord of Skulls is out on the board, Tau have to respond. They have to start playing the game. And if I don't force Tau to play this game, I'm just going to lose it on points turn 5.
Yeah.
He did kill the ghost kill. Fantastic. He did a little bit of the shooting went well enough that it forced the stealth drones out in shooting because there's a few of those big D6 plus 2 damage shots. And he didn't want to lose it before melee, and then he makes it in, gets like 4 wounds through. They're all flat 8 damage. You're not like your ghost kill's dead.
Yeah.
And he responded as I hoped. Riptide comes out, Hammerheads come out, the 2 crisis suits both come out. Because the crisis suit commanders, they also have like a good amount of good damage into Lord of Skulls profiles. They've got the missile pods that are high enough strength that you can sort of get a lot of damage in. And he was like, okay, a Hammerhead and a Riptide, it could kill it. It really might not do enough. So I want a bit more extra stuff. Everything comes out to play, which is what I needed desperately. I think the first Hammerhead activation brought Lord of Skulls down to 2 wounds. The railgun, they both went through.
Oh, Jesus.
I failed both my saves. It did like 18 damage just on those, and then the Seeker missiles went in, and I failed that, and it did. And I was like, okay, this guy's already almost dead. Fantastic. This has gone very poorly for me, but I expected
they do
to
that.
die.
Like the Hammerhead is the tank that makes me like clench more than anything else in the game. I'm like, please just miss with those 2 shots.
Absolutely. But yeah, Lord of Skulls dropped. It was what we expected. But at this point, I'd started the Forge Fiend off the board. I started the Hellbrute off the board as well. Forge Fiend in this matchup, he always starts up off the board.
Cool.
Because you need crisis suit. You need to be able to react to crisis suits.
Yeah.
So you have to wait for the crisis suits to commit, and hopefully they're in a position where the Forge Fiend is able to do something about it. Because in Retaliation Cadre especially, they've got the ability to jump, shoot, jump. So they can just spend the entire game coming out, shooting your stuff, going back behind a wall. And if you've got a Forge Fiend on the board, it's incredibly easy to play around.
Yeah.
So in this turn, I lost all the skulls. Almost nothing else. It wasn't too bad. And the Hellbrute rapid ingress on the flank that wasn't Lord of Skulls' side. And I've spent so many games threatening what a Hellbrute could do. Pinball Wizard finally made his play. Turn 3, we at that point we could send it. So Forge Fiend dropped in. We sent a couple of Demon Princes out. The Jackals really couldn't get to much in this game, so I just decided to try and keep them alive into the late game to score points and start doing stuff. I think I burned my safe objective turn 3 because I was like, I'm committing to this. We're going for it. We're running into the middle now. The middle is my safe objective.
Okay, sure, whatever.
And it went well. The Forge Fiend picked up basically one squad of crisis suits. Demon Prince helped with that. So in the end, we picked up the entirety of one squad. The Cold Stars one that could move fast and do stuff. And we picked up half of the Uppy Downy brick. So there's still one Flamer suit in that and the Commander, which is still, it's not bad, but it's a lot less of a threat than a full 3 suits with stuff.
What did the Hellbrute do, Josie?
Tell
us about the Hellbrute.
He walked into a Ghost Keel. First activation went in with the hammer. Did 0 damage, but forced out the stealth drones. The stealth drones were spent. And I was like, okay, so the Ghost Keel has to punch me back now. And I was like, okay, yeah, your Ghost Keel did absolutely nothing to me. I was like, okay, you've punched my Hellbrute. He's really quite mad about this. Bonk. Ghost Keel. Gone. And what are we within 6 inches? Oh, look at that over there. We've got 6-inch consolidate on this turn. There's 3 stealth suits. I'm just going to go walk into them. You know they have to punch me now. And he was like, yeah. So they punched me. No damage. Bonk. They're gone. What else is in range of that? Oh, there's a hammerhead just over there. I'm going to go walk into the hammerhead now. It has to punch me, you know. So in the end, yes. Hellbrute picked up a Ghost Keel, 3 stealth suits, a hammerhead, and then got stuck in some crew. He still picked up half a squad of crew as well at the end of his turn.
Got stuck in the chickens at the end.
On this guy's home objective, just standing there like, yeah, what about it? It's fine.
So you actually did the thing. Like the thing that we've all talked about doing.
Finally actually happened.
That must have felt amazing.
It was wonderful. It was absolutely glorious. He realized at that point, there's not anything left that kills Jackals. His anti-infantry was gone. Like Riptides and Hammerheads, they've got a reasonable amount of shots, but not enough to pick up 60, 80 Jackals. So he tried for the smart play of Uppy Downy in his crisis suits and starting trying to threaten my home. Because at this point, my home had 10 Jackals on it, and I had 8 Goremongers that were burning my safe objective. If he stops the Goremongers, I don't care. I'm scoring points elsewhere anyway. If he can clear my home, he can walk onto it, burn it, and that becomes then a big problem. But of course, 5-up Feel No Pain is a wonderful thing to have. And the Lord of Skulls hadn't... no, Lord of Skulls was dead. The Demon Prince, one of them hadn't quite managed to commit that far. So still had the 4-up Imp unavailable. I lost 8 Jackals. That's all I needed. 2 were left, which were enough to sort of move, block the jump, shoot, jump onto my home. So he couldn't jump on. Didn't end up spending the CP to move out at all. That was probably a mistake in the end. Because in my turn 5, then going into my sort of turn 5, I could touch him with the Goremongers, and that's all I had to do is touch them. Goremongers in the end actually picked up the last crisis suit, and apparently, if you pick up the crisis suit, the commander usually isn't carrying the thing that lets him fall back and do stuff, because he's taking the shield generator for an invuln instead.
Yeah.
Because as long as you've got a crisis suit alive, the unit can still do all of its cool stuff. But after he lost that, the commander couldn't fall back and shoot anymore, which means he couldn't fall back and burn my objective anymore. And I was completely, absolutely out of damage. I had nothing useful that I could do, but I had 60 Jackals in the midboard. And they just sort of stood there and picked up points. which is all I had to do. It was a very close game, 95-81 in the end, because I really had no way of stopping him from doing anything he wanted to do. And
You
on
just
Scorched
have too
Earth, the
much
primary
stuff.
is always close. I just had to do more than him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
What a freaky game.
it was a absolutely wild one. It's
Yeah.
very capable of picking up a jackal list.
Yeah.
Yeah, very scary list.
Phew. That was a fun one to walk around and peek in on. A lot of weird
Yeah,
shit happened there.
and that 14-point win was my second biggest win of the weekend.
Yeah, we're on a downward trajectory.
We really are.
So
Um,
let's keep running down that hill.
yeah, game three was fun. Game three was against Peter Gelfi. Fantastic guy. Love the guy.
Oh yeah, my
Um,
boy.
we warmed up the game and he was like, you've won this. And I was like, I have not won this. And he was like, yeah, I can't kill jackals. Like, you know what jackals don't do? They don't kill 4-up feel no pain Deathwing. And I agreed with him on most missions. It's a very difficult matchup for Dark Angels when he had this sort of list. He had 3 of the big Deathwing bricks, 2 Lancers, a Reaper, a big inner circle brick with Azrael, some massive infantry blocks. None of them really very good at killing jackals, especially not at range. They all have to actually get into combat with me to start killing things. Most missions, this is absolutely fine. I just score points, stand in the middle, and say, "Yeah, give me a brick of 10. I'll just start picking it up." This was Purge the Foe, so I don't really get anything from holding the midboard because he just walks on and takes it off me, and I may as well only be holding one objective now. I don't get much from screening with jackals because he picks them up and just scores kill points. And it is very difficult to reliably pick up Deathwing Night Bricks on Purge the Foe with jackals. Very, very difficult. But yeah, it was a really fun game. It was a very close game in the end. I went first. Fine, I went first on Purge the Foe. That is already, again, not a mission I
That's
want to
not
go
great.
first.
Yeah.
For the sake of people watching, if you go first on Purge the Foe, what that means is at the end of every single battle round, your opponent knows exactly how many things they have to kill to get kill more.
Yeah.
They get to play the game knowing how many things they have to kill, how much they have to commit. If I go in and kill nothing, if I bounce off a unit of Deathwing, they get to say, okay, well, I don't have to play the game this turn. I just pick up this unit that tried to go into me.
The
Stay
person
completely
going first
safe.
has to play like such a risky game. The person going
Yeah,
second gets to play like safe as hell. It's just
exactly.
yeah,
And
it's gross.
I don't like being the one that has to take risks. But yeah, I went first. We both got a kill point very early on. He had his the combi lieutenant guy who likes to infiltrate up. He was close enough to Goremongers that even after a 6-inch reactive move, I could just say, okay, well, I think it was a 5-inch charge because it was my +1 move turn, as Battle Round 1 always is for Cult of
Yeah,
Bloodlust.
for sure.
+1 charge, like it's fine. It is what it is. But +1 advance and move makes Jackals move surprisingly fast on your staging turns. So yeah, I killed the lieutenant, but he was close enough with his reactive move to let some Deathwing heroic in, and shockingly, Goremongers did not survive 5
Yeah,
Deathwing Knights.
I could see that happening.
And that unit of Deathwing then just sort of walked into me. I did still scream of 10 Jackals because you can't let him get into the Demon Princes because they've all got anti-monster 4-up or something. It's not a good time. So they start clearing screens, they touch stuff, it's not good for me. So he basically spent turn 2 and turn 3. He gave up hold more every turn for those couple of turns, but he got kill more because I just can't deal with
There's
the
no way
Deathwing.
you're ever getting kill more there.
No, exactly. And we was very even going into turn 4. Well, very going into his turn 3. Very even game. And I was like, okay, I'm going to lose this turn 5. Probably. It is what it is. At this point, Lord of Skulls was still waiting behind a wall. I spent 3 turns. Lord of Skulls had not come out because there are 2 Lancers across from me. Very, not reliably, but there's a very reasonable chance they just lift it. And I don't have anything. There's no point giving him that kill. Turn 3, he got a little bit greedy. I had a very low health Demon Prince at this point that had spent a couple of turns fighting Deathwing. It's like, I think he was on 1 wound, just standing in the midboard, like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? I'd loaned up to him, so I'd still played it smart. So he had to commit something if he wanted to deal with it. And there was another, my other Demon Prince was over on my safe-ish objective, the one nearest the Lord of Skulls, also load up. And he decided that he wasn't going to give up Holdmore anymore. So he sent another Deathwing brick and Azrael into the middle. Oh, I forgot the fun one. Turn 2. He'd sort of staged up these in a circle in his house. My 20 guys with the Slaughterbound were there. And I was like, I pick them up now, right? And he was like, no, you don't. There's no world. It's in a circle. No way. So I just, to shower him, really. Sent 20 jackals and the Slaughterbound into 6 in a circle. Yeah, they died.
Let me guess, you picked them so easily up.
Not so easily. Azrael ended up living.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, they're -1 to hit, I think, with Azrael in charge, or possibly just in a circle thing. I didn't quite manage to get them. I say didn't quite. I got about 8 jackals and the Slaughterbound into this brick and still lifted 6 in a circle companions. The Slaughterbound's so good. Such a fantastic model to have in the army. But yeah, Azrael was wandering around on his own at this point. So he sent Azrael and 1 remaining Deathwing Knight from a thing into this Demon Prince. And on the other side, he sent in 1 of his tanks, I think it was 1 of his Lancers, and 1 of the ATVs and stuff to try and pick up my other Demon Prince on my safe flank. Killed 1 in the middle. Fine, he was on 1 wound. I don't care. You could have grenaded him and he would have died. But the other one didn't die, which was nice. That's fine. I'd also, again, held back the Hellbrute until this point because he just wasn't giving me anything. But he got greedy there. There were now 4 units in the midboard going into my turn 4. And they were all relatively killable. There was like 1 Deathwing Knight, 1 Azrael, 1 ATV. And at that point, I could finally come out because there's a Lancer in the midboard as well. So Kloss walks out from behind a wall, lifts an ATV, charges a Lancer, lifts that, shoots at Azrael, lifts him, and some other Jackals kill the last Deathwing Knight. And all of a sudden, I've finally been able to pick up kill points. Where I just wasn't ever really expecting. Like, I think if he just sat back for another turn, I would have had to come out in my turn 4 anyway, because I'm never going to win without it. And then I lose on taking the risk. In the end, he still got 1 kill from like overwatching some jackals or something, but he very nearly, I mean, I went into turn 4 as a challenger. I drew my challenger card turn 4. I got my 3 points. Fantastic. I finally got a challenger card. But yeah, after me being a challenger turn 4, going into round 5, he was a challenger. It was that big a swing in terms of getting hold, getting kill more, getting secondaries that I could score. And it was still only a 7-point win because he still did get that big turn 5. He got a bunch of hold more, kill something, and scored 3 points on his own challenger card. It was always going to be a close game going into that one.
Real scrappy kind of game.
But he'd given me enough of an out that we could survive at that point. And once the Lord of Skulls picks up 1 Lancer, I'm not losing the Lord of Skulls.
No. Very nice.
Very good.
Yeah, for sure.
But a really, really tight game. It was a really fun one though. That was a really entertaining game.
Yeah, Peter's good fun to play against. Awesome. So that was your day 1. You finished it off 3-0.
Yeah, it was a really fun time.
Good. Let's.
And you gave me pairings for round 4 overnight, and I was like, oh, it's Death Guard. Okay.
Oh yes, yeah. You paired into Michael.
I did pair into Michael. He's a fantastic player.
See, your 1, 2, 3. Your last 3 rounds were just going through Team Ireland, basically.
Yes, yeah, they really were.
Solid.
So I drew Michael's Death Guard. He was running not the hammer one, but the virulent one that has sticky objectives. With the massive Plague Marine brick that just picks up whatever it looks like. When it wants to die, it kills. The cool Demon Prince, his Demon Prince also gets a 5-up feel no pain because that's fine. And I think his is toughness 12, the Death Guard one.
Something stupid,
it's so tanky. Yeah. And then you stand at sort of 3 drones, 3x3 Death Shroud.
Death Guard, good stuff.
None of the mortars. I think that's actually worse for me most of the time. The mortars don't kill enough jackals to be worth it.
They don't really do anything, right?
No, they'll kill like 4 or 5 jackals each, but I don't care. It's fine. And my opponent took -1 to hit for his contagion, which is fair enough. Jackals hit on 4s, making them hit on 5s is sad. Lord of Skulls shoots on 4s, making him hit on 5s is just devastating. I hate
Yeah,
Lord
that
of
is.
Skulls hitting on 5.
Your whole army is functionally like ballistic and weapon skill 5. It's just
Yeah, it
like,
just turns me
what are we
into
playing
orcs
here?
every time.
Am I an orc?
Ah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was good fun. I'd sort of at this point worked out how I'm playing the list because going into it, I hadn't played that many practice games. I played with Similis and tried to work it out, but not this exact one. And we sort of, by the end of the tournament, I'd worked out standard deployment, Hellbrute off the board, 10 Jackals off the board, and a Forge Fiend off the board. You just don't need it on when Lord of Skulls can put out such a massive amount of shooting damage. In theory, maybe. You tell your opponent.
Sometimes. When he's having a good day. I mean, that game against
Exactly.
Peter, it sounded like he did pretty decent.
Yeah, no, he did definitely did well with it. Michael respected the Lord of Skulls a lot harder. So again, like round 3, Lord of Skulls didn't come out to play until turn 4. This game, he didn't come out to play until turn 3 because I went first. Fine. He had 2 Poxwalker units. I sent 8 Goremongers into one, lifted the unit. And I sent 2 Spawn into another. Did not lift the unit, but they were down to like 4 models. And at that point, they're not. I think they were down to 3. And at that point, they're not much of a threat.
Yeah.
They can walk on and maybe take an objective off a Demon Prince, but if I stick here, they don't even do that. So yeah, I picked up most of his trading chaff. This is good. I lost mine. I don't care. It's Death Guard. All the trading stuff is off the board going for 6-inch charges anyway. So if I lose my screens, it is what it is. And I put 2 Demon Princes on the midboard objectives, 1 bang in the middle, 1 over in the other corner. And we pre-measured absolutely everything. And I said to someone, look, you cannot shoot me with any of your guns except for the Plague Marines. And if you want to get the Plague Marines out the Rhino to deal with the Demon Prince, I will take it. There's nothing else they could do. And he looked at that and said, no, I don't want to do that. And because I didn't offer his tanks anything, they all basically stood still. He gave me the 15, is that what it is? That's this mission score. It was called 13 because we're on Linchpin. So I got to score those objectives basically for free. Fantastic time. And then next turn I drew Cleanse and Extend, and we did a similar thing. I'm just going to stand in the midboard. I'm just going to score points. I'm just going to stay here until you decide to do something about it. Because as it is, Lord of Skulls is behind a wall. My Demon Princes are lone up. I can't shoot you. You can't really shoot me. I dropped the Forge Fiend on one side, turn 2, to try and pick up a Bloat Drone. I did 3 damage to it because Bloat Drones are funny.
Yeah. I hate shooting Forge Fiends into those things. It's just so annoying.
Exactly. But no, I kind of wanted it on that side anyway. It was the right place for it to be. The thinking was sort of, I'm going to get Jackals onto this objective. They're going to do cleanse. And they're doing cleanse from a position where Bloat Drone cannot see without moving. So I dropped a Forge Fiend in. I was like, I'm going to shoot it once. If I kill it, fantastic. If I knock it low enough, Overwatch probably kills it. And then I did 3 damage to it. I was like, oh, I'm not going to kill it now. Fine. Is what it is.
Sure, I guess.
And then turned to sub. He'd realized he was just falling behind endlessly. So he went for the really frustrating play of stealing my home objective on Linchpin. And there's almost nothing I can do about it because it's Death Guard. So he managed to sort of get enough contagion around the board that he could 6-inch Death Shroud for a charge onto my home objective. He made it. He did not pick up the unit.
Oh, what?
I didn't even have the invent. I had the Feel No Pain on.
Oh, come on.
Death Shroud Sweep is strength. I think it's strength 5. Is that right?
Yeah, it's 5 or 6. They're not winning on 2s anyway.
No, it's strength 4 even. But yeah, okay. I go down to toughness 3. That's fine. They're winning on 3s. It was like 24 attacks, but they hit on 3s, win on 3s. It's actually not mathematically comfortable to kill a unit of Jackals through a 5-up Feel No Pain. I, at this point, had Fight on Death and Dead Wounds.
Let's go!
I knew what was happening. And between Fight on Death and then also the regular combat from the survivors, we picked up 2 Death Shroud Terminated.
That's so
and I
nasty.
held my home objective going into turn 3.
Oh, that's
Um,
absolutely foul.
yeah, but he went for the big commit this turn. So as well as that, he'd
Yeah.
also sent his Demon Prince into the midboard. He'd got the Plague Marines out of the Rhino and tried to pick up. Basically, the plan was kill both Demon Princes, and then like play and steal my home and force me to sort of turn around and play the game from there. But because he didn't kill my Jackals on my home, I still scored my home for that turn, and that was probably actually a big difference maker in that game.
Mm.
I also ingress the help once as soon as the Plague Marines get out of the Rhino, I ingress the Hellbrute nearby.
Yeah.
That's just instantly going to happen. So turn 3 was the big go turn for me. I sent Kloss forward, Hellbrute forward. Everything has to go and try and kill these Plague Marines because if they get to activate, they're just going to start picking up my army for nothing.
Yeah.
And it's a massive problem. I also sent 10 whole Jackals back towards my home objective because like there's one Terminate left on this. I'm going to go kill him real quick. So to deal with that, he had to drop another unit of Death Shroud on
Oh,
my
that
home
feels
objective.
so rough.
And then like he overwatched the Jackals that came in, they all died, and he cleared my home in his turn 3, going into my turn 4. But at that point, there's 2 units of Death Shroud that are functionally out of the game.
Out of the game, yeah.
Yeah. Hellbrute goes in, picks up most of the Plague Marines. Between Hellbrute, Demon Prince, some Jackals, and Kloss, we pick up all the Plague Marines. No, it's not even all the Plague Marines. I killed 8 Marines. I shot Kloss into, or the anti-tank gun goes into the Rhino. I got 1 wound through, which is actually about average when you're hitting on 5s.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't kill it. I shot the anti-infantry gun into the Plague Marines and killed like 2 of them.
Great.
Hitting on 5s. It's just so sad. So sad. But between melee and everything else, we picked up the majority of the rest of that brick. Kloss charged the Demon Prince. And the Demon Prince only died. I got 2 wounds through on that Demon Prince. So he only died because he failed both of them.
Yeah, those things do
Take
not go
6
down
demon
easy.
damage. They're really difficult to kill.
Yeah. It had the feel no pain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
They're
that
so
point,
hard
yeah,
to
there's
kill.
still a chance he doesn't die as a 2 fails on the Kloss.
Yeah.
But no, and that was fine. And my big brick of 20 with the slaughter band also wandered up and picked up a predator, and we picked up a drone somewhere, and stuff started dying, which was good. But I still was about to lose I lost my home objective in his turn. And of course, there's still 1 more brick of Death Shroud and 3 Death Shroud with the Lord that gives them lethals and all sorts of nonsense things. Just walk up to a load of skulls and say goodbye now. Rinsed it. It's like 240 points, and it just rinses the Lord of Skulls like it's nothing.
I actually just hate Death Shroud so much. They're so stupid.
Yep, absolutely. But at this point, I played a very similar game to game 1. I had almost nothing left. I'd built up a massive lead going into turn 4. So I picked up 2 13-point primary turns. He picked up 2 3-point primary turns because I just held everything.
Those Jackals in the back.
And at this point, I was like, okay, I just have to hold on. I just have to score everything I can while you're picking up challenger cards, while you're picking up sabotage for 3 points and all sorts of just easy scores. So I had 1 Demon Prince left, and this brick of 20 Jackals, another brick of 20 Jackals, and there's like a 10 hanging down. And the last 2 turns are basically just spent with those guys just holding hands across the midboard. Demon Prince and Jackals. Just, here's the 3 midboard. These ones are mine. I've killed the Death Shroud that walked in because Dev Wounds is super funny into Death Shroud. They really don't like it.
Yeah.
But I can't kill anything else. So I just stood there. I picked up 3 points in my turn 4 because he knocked me off almost everything. I picked up 6 in my turn 5, and he just kept catching up and catching up and catching up. And I was just far enough ahead in the end to pick up the win. It was a 79-70 game.
It's not. Yeah, that's unpleasant.
Really
just
close
like
one. If this was a 6-point game, a 6-turn game, I lose.
Yeah.
I didn't have the assets left to hold on. But it's scary. Yeah. And if you pushed earlier, maybe it would have been probably would have been a completely different game. But
yeah,
neither of you know that going into it, which is
of course,
makes it really cagey.
Awesome.
And this was the game I expected to lose. I think I told you at one point I was expecting to go 5-0, -1 every time I played Death Shroud.
Yeah.
Death Guard, even. I really expected to
Same
lose that
thing.
game.
Yeah, I was like, when you came away from that game with a win, I was like, God damn, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You really traumatized Michael. Like,
Oh, it was such a difficult one.
yeah.
But yeah, bottom of turn 3 in that game, I was up 54-28. I was yeah, my last 2 turns, I scored 25 points and he scored 52. It was the amount of catch up that list can put out
Challenger
is
cards too,
insane.
just like,
Yeah.
oh, what a terrible mechanic. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm not I might mention that in my turn 5, in my game 5. I'm not a fan of challenger cards.
I don't know anyone who is a fan of Challenger cards. I think they're actually like probably the worst like weird side thing that has come through 10th edition. But
Yeah, and it really hurts my kind of list. My list
yeah,
likes to go ahead early,
I think
and
like
I
broadly
start
like
running out of assets and people catch
World
up. And if
Eater's
they catch
playstyle
up,
is like I'm gonna have big old push, get loads of early score, and then die and hope you don't catch up on me. I'm like,
yeah,
well,
and if your opponent's getting 6-9 points of just
yeah.
free catch up, it makes it a lot harder to get ahead far enough.
If you want to know more about how bad Challenger cards are, go watch Brian's recap of Dearg Doom, and you will find out exactly how punishing fixed can be with the Challenger card mechanic. But
Absolutely.
we're here now to talk about round 5, which was at this point
Yeah.
you're 4-0.
Photo.
So you had been 3-0 in round 4. There was 2 other players going 3-0. They tied
Yes.
in the round 4. So there was only 2 people 4-0 at the end of round 4.
Yep. We
You,
got ourselves a proper final.
it was a proper final. Proper final.
Yep, a really important game, very
Really
important to win.
important
We
game.
congratulate each other at the start of the game because this is not Death Guard, not Chaos Knights. It's Chaos Demons, Shadow Legion. A really fun list.
Yeah.
I think similar to sort of mine. I think a lot of people came away from playing against Tom's list saying how absolutely obnoxiously awful it was to play into.
Yeah.
It's
They
a
usually bring some
really,
pretty fucked up stuff as well. I've played
really
them a
hard
couple of
list to
times in
beat.
tournaments and it's like, oh,
Um,
what is
yeah.
this? Yeah.
But no, we shook hands and we had a little celebrate going into that game because we were like, yes, we've done it. We've stopped Chaos Knights and Death Guard from winning this event. One of us has got this. It's going to be great fun.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
went first. We're on hidden supplies. It's 6 objectives.
Do you like the new hidden supplies, by the way?
I don't mind it. It's
Hmm.
a pretty low scoring game. It can be a really low scoring mission, which is
Yeah.
really weird because in the 6 objectives. But in this game, I scored 30 primary and Tom scored 25. It was not a big game on the points side. 15 of Tom's points were in turn 5 because they went second.
Yep.
Which was an issue that I've got constantly in my games.
It's a powerful strategy in 40k is going second.
It really is.
Yeah. Only the best players do it, they tell me.
Absolutely. And yeah, hidden supplies, new hidden supplies, for anybody who's not aware of it, you don't score for your home objective. Anything at all. It's you get 5 points for 1 midboard, 10 points for 2. And if you hold more, including your home, you get a 15-point turn.
Yeah. Which
is almost impossible. Really
hard
difficult
to
to
do.
do. Unless you go second, and then it's very easy to do on turn 5. I've got a lot of problems with a lot of the primaries in this current mission pack being very heavily favoured towards going second.
Yeah. And then you've got challenger cards as well. Really,
yeah, it's a really cool list, the Shadow Legion one. They had Be'lakor, who just plays so well with it. I didn't realize until it was explained, Be'lakor just gets Dark Pact in this.
Yeah,
he just
it's crazy.
Like lethal or sustained for free, and he auto passes the Dark Pact roll because I guess he's praying to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Be'lakor's a massive threat. They were running the Bloodthirster, the standard sort of what I think the Fade Thirster it gets called now. It's a Bloodthirster with Fade to Darkness. It's got a massive amount of melee. If it kills something, it just goes back up in the sky. It's like taking Warp Talons, and if I remember right, I think it's cheaper or a very similar cost to 10 Warp Talons.
305, I think.
335 with the enhancement.
Yeah.
It's very good and very difficult to kill. 10 Horrors, Beasts of Nurgle, a single Beast of Nurgle. The big thing, actually, which I think a lot of people underestimate looking at the list, is the 3x6 Screamers. Screamers in this detachment, Shadow Legion, they sit there with a 4-up invuln, and they are -1 to be hit at all times. They are so obnoxiously difficult to kill. And on top of that, they ran Brick of a Curse cultists with the Dark Commune. That brick is always very good. They have an enhancement to Scout, so they can be a massive threat turn 1. We were very interested in what would happen if Tom went first in this game, to be honest, because that Brick of a Curse could have gone anywhere and done anything.
Yeah.
And in the end, they scouted backwards to get out of range of the flags.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to be like tagged by goremongers early on, lose a couple, right?
No. And the really interesting tech in their list is 3 units of Raptors, because this list can put you to -3 leadership, and Raptors force a Battle Shock test at the start of the fight phase for everything they touch. It's incredibly easy for Raptors to just touch something and make you fail Battle Shock, and then you can't use any of your cool strats like rezzing 20 Jackals or full hit rerolls or any of the really important things that I need for this list to do well.
Yeah. Spooky, spooky.
As an aside, this is a Horde attachment. It gets the ability to res a squad of Jackals for 2 CP. You want to know how many times I use that strat, how many Jackals I resed in the entire event?
I'm going to guess weirdly not 5, which is what I would have imagined
Not
it would
5.
be. Yeah. 2?
0.
0? What the
0.
fuck?
I did not res a single Jackal.
That's so weird.
It was never the right time. It was either a go turn where I'd gone for it and I was like, I need 2 CP for other stuff, or in this game, or the one game I'd have really liked to have it, I was Battle Shocked.
They were spooked.
They just couldn't do it.
I find that really interesting. I would have thought that's like every single game. Yeah.
Yeah, I was expected to use it every single game, but it just never really came up because I was spending all my CP on hit rerolls, just constantly spending CP on hit rerolls and 5-up Feel No Pain. Finding 2 spare CP, even with Demon Prince buffs, was actually like surprisingly really difficult to do. But yes, this is in supplies. I've gone first. It's a really low scoring primary, and I'm 15 points down, essentially, going into the game. So we've got to go for it. I also, turn 1, scored no prisoners and bring it down. No points. Turn 2, I drew Assassination and engaged on all fronts. I scored 2 points on Engage and nothing on Assassination. So I'm so far behind. Desperately far behind. But we took some risky plays. Turn 1, the Demon Prince charged 10 Jackals and killed them to the man. If that kill hadn't happened, I'd have won this game so easily because the Bloodthirster was just about to get obliterated. And because of the way I'd set up, they also had to charge Screamers onto my home objective. My home. It basically is my home in this game because my home is worthless. My safe corner objective, some Screamers and some Raptors sort of played on that side. But the series of plays that sort of happened in turn 2 meant that I was just barely able to get a 15-point primary in turn 3. I heroic some Jackals into these Screamers. I stopped them from taking one of my mid-board objectives. We held the other one still because I passed a Battle Shock test against Raptors or something. And that was fantastic. And over on the other side, I'd sent my Slaughterbound brick into 10 horrors. We picked up the horrors, fantastic. And essentially said, look, I've got this flank now. This play hasn't worked. I've got 15 primary. I'm about to pick up these Screamers. Your Raptors are down this side. You've got nothing here. And if you don't defend your safe corner, I'm running away with this. So at that point, they conceded my side and went for the big pickup of 20 Jackals and a Slaughterbound. A couple of Raptor squads went in. Another squad of Screamers goes in. The Bloodthirster goes in. I pass the Battle Shock test from Raptors. Big. So I'm able to res Jackals if they die. 19 Jackals out of 20 died.
No.
And then we go into my turn. It's like, okay, fantastic, great.
One Jackal.
I failed the Battle Shock test and he died. The mortal wounds from
that is actually the salt in the wound. Holy shit.
But because they'd had to go for this big play, in that turn as well, I made the decision that my safe corner is safe. I'm going to brawl over here for as long as I can. So I ingressed the Hellbrute in turn 2, and in turn 3 I also dropped in the Forge Fiend and sent a Demon Prince up into that flank just to try and brawl on it. We went sustain and lethal in turn 3, and I sent a Hellbrute into that Bloodthirster, and I said, look, if this thing, it could do anything. It could scam the absolute living hell out of you. And in general, it went quite well that turn. The Demon Prince and the Forge Fiend, we picked up 6 Screamers, another 6 Hats to Heroic In, so they were also about to get overwatched. I picked up a bunch of Raptors, but the only thing that mattered, literally the only thing that mattered really in this entire game at this point, is does the Hellbrute kill a Bloodthirster? And it went well. 8 attacks. I think I got like 4 6s or something on the attack roll. Bunch of lethals, bunch of sustain. I put like 9 saves on this thing. It went really well. Absolute scam. And then it passed 6 of the 9 inbuns on its 4-up inbun. Like, okay, that's fine. I'd already done it a little bit of damage from fight on death rolls and stuff, so I needed to do 10 damage on my 3.
Reasonable.
Damage. Very possible, especially with the CP roll hanging around. I got a 5. This is good. I got a 2. That's okay. So 3-up kills the Bloodthirster. If this Bloodthirster dies, Tom is not getting a 15 at the end of the game because there's nothing left that really threatens my home that goes uppy downy. There's nothing really left that threatens me full stop. There's still the Accursed Cultists that haven't committed yet, but we both already said, look, that you've got a big break of Accursed. I've got 20 Jackals. They're not going to meet until you have to commit the Accursed. Because you've got to commit them to killing something else, a Demon Prince or 10 Jackals or something.
Yeah.
And then I just walk in and rinse that squad. I was in no rush for the rest of the board because I had this sort of positional advantage and this score advantage. So I need to roll a 3-up to kill a Bloodthirster and win the game on the spot. I roll a 2. Okay, fine. We're just going to CP it. That's absolutely fine. I roll a 1.
Yay.
Bloodthirster lives on 2. Bloodthirster then lifts the Hellbrute, obviously in 1 activation. There's no risk of the Bloodthirster not killing a Hellbrute. It gives itself +1 to hit. So the fact that I bracketed it is irrelevant, which is a mechanic that I really hate, by the way.
Yes.
If I bracketed something, it should be bracketed.
Yeah.
That Bloodthirster then went on to charge my Forge Fiend that was over on that flank as well. I lost the demon, so I lost that flank in their turn 4. In their turn 3, even because I committed in their turn 3. The Accursed came in, as expected, picked up 10 Jackals or whatever, kept me to a 5 in my turn 4. I picked up the Accursed, as expected, basically for free. But this Bloodthirster is now in my backline, and I don't have a way of dealing with it. And because I couldn't deal with it, Tom was able to pick up 6 points on Challenger cards, a 15-point primary in turn 5. And even with that, they needed 9 points from the secondaries to draw the game, which is doable. But there's a surprising amount of secondary combinations that will not give you 9 points.
Yeah, like 3-3 or 3-5. Yeah.
They drew extend, 4 points for basically nothing. That's just a guarantee. There you go, 4 points, great. And they drew Mark for death. And I got to say, okay, well, there is, I think at this point, about 12 Jackals left from the squad of 20 in the midboard. I'm also picking the Lord of Skulls that's not going to die because you can't. Bloodthirster now can't leave my home because he has to stand there and score points. Because if he goes into the Colossus and whiffs, I win the game. And I still had 2 Goremongers alive or something that had killed some Raptors and then got charged by cultists and fell back. It was almost irrelevant. But I had to offer up my remaining Jackals from the big brick. So we turn on, because I hadn't actually had to spend it yet because of how slow the game had been. We turned on the second 4-up invuln turn, going into turn 5. I popped 5-up Field of Pain shooting, 5-up Field of Pain melee, and they just died. It took until the fight phase. And with that 5 points on Mark for Death, I didn't win, but nor did Tom. And as Tom turned around, because I think we'd ran basically to time here. So they got to turn around, shout to the crowd, 69, 69. And the room erupts. It's cheers everywhere. Everyone loves the draw. Everyone loves the score. It was a fantastic time.
It was definitely like one of the most like well received and funniest like end of the final table, and everyone standing around. I was at the desk at the time just being like, I was so angry with both of you.
I was pretty mad myself. I'd come like going into turn 5. I was like, okay, I've got this. This is
Yeah.
gonna go okay. The Bloodthirst is gonna score a lot of points. But I'm ahead. I'm gonna be fine. Um, and then it just wasn't quite enough. I only got a 10 prior in my turn 5, and I only scored 8 points on secondaries. I got Secure No Man's Land and Recover Assets for a 3. If it had gone the other way around, it'd have been a win. If the Bloodthirster had died or failed to kill Jackals in turn 1, I'd have won. It was a frustrating one in many ways because it felt
Yeah.
like all of the
The win conditions were
chances to
there.
win were for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
At no point really did Tom ever actually have a chance to swing that game in their favor and take it and win it.
Mm.
And it was just so close.
Yeah. It
But
is actually heartbreak. But I mean, look,
I
69
never
69
expected to get
draw in
this
the
far.
final is pretty good.
Exactly. And it's still an undefeated event. It was a fantastic run for Cult of Blood. But because I'd scored low in almost every game. I never got any 100-point games. My primary scores weren't great. I sort of gone back to my team after this and said, look, we were thinking about this for a teams event next month. And I said, nope, I cannot run this in teams. I will get 10 points. Like, I'll get a draw against anybody. Run me into whatever and I'll get a draw. But if you need a push, I can't do it with Cult Blood. It's not happening, which is really different from what Index Jackpack did. Because Index Jackpack ran at people.
Yeah.
And it just flooded the board.
Like index push for the 18 to 20
noxious.
score, right?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
big pushing list. Because you just sent Angron at stuff and said, okay, kill Angron. I've resed him now. He's ingressing for free.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened. You functionally wasted your turn killing Angron, or you've killed Jackals, and I don't care. Cult of Blood is a very different game. It's a lot tighter, which I think is cool. There's a lot of really tactical stuff going on with it. A lot of matchups that it can win against. Just not well.
Yeah. You'll sweat for every single win.
Exactly. But no, it was a really, really fun event. I am still a little bit disappointed we've not won it, but an undefeated run for Cult of Blood, I think, is more than anyone was expecting, is more than I was expecting, and I picked the list.
Yeah. I mean, as it was sort of like happening, I was very much like oh no, it is happening. Like watching you just go undefeated, undefeated, and these like harrowed people walking away from the table, just cored to their very being. And like, what just happened to me? I was just like, this is going to happen. I've got obviously no control over it. Fair enough. I'll just let it play out. And I really thought when I saw that you paired Michael, I was like, that'll be the one.
Yeah.
Josie's told me she can't beat Deckard. And then I saw Michael like crawl away from the table. It's like, well, fair enough, I guess. But yeah, it was a hell of a run. It was really, really fun. I enjoyed like having the capacity to just walk around and like witness it on the board, because it's quite a spectacle once it gets going.
Absolutely, it really is.
Nice, awesome. So that was Jack Pack at Dearg Doom 4-0-1, which is undefeated, more than Brian did. We will say that. So that's what it is. You can give Brian hate in the comments down below. So yeah, I guess like to close it out, what's next on the agenda? Like, are you gonna try and take Jack Pack to another GT or, mess around with something else?
I think so. So I've not. The only event that I've got before the next balance slate is coming up at the start of August. I am running Death Guard because somebody has to.
Oh no.
My Jackals list don't do well in teams.
Yeah.
And if we want to win the event, the Death Guard is so good that you are throwing by not taking somebody on Death Guard.
Yeah.
Even if it's a known equation, everybody will know what to do against Death Guard, how to play against Death Guard. It's still almost impossible to stop them from doing the things that they're going to do to you.
Yeah.
So I'm not playing with Odysseus before the next slate. But if we come out reasonably well, and I've got no reason to think that Cult of Blood is going to suffer in the balance day slate. Some of the good stuff, like maybe the Forward Fiend and the Hellbrute, go up a little bit.
Yeah.
If they go up too far and the Lord of Skulls doesn't come down, that's a very sad situation. But I feel like I'm at least going to be sort of level, and the top end scary stuff in the meta should go down an awful lot. So I've got LGC, the London GC, coming up at the end of September, and I'm definitely putting an eye on Cult of Blood again for that. It was where I took the Jackpack last time and did super well, and I would love to be able to go there and do it again.
That'd be cool. Yeah. That'd be really, really cool.
No, it'd be great fun. No, I think this is one of the best, as the Jackpack was. It's one of the best ways to run World Eaters. It's just a completely different way of running the army.
Yeah.
That's what people expect, but it now it relies on a lot of the same tricks that World Eaters do in general. So you previously you had the ability to advance and charge, and that changed the way Index and even Vessels ran. They had a one staging turn and then they just ran at somebody. And Jackals couldn't really do that in the same way because even with advance and charge, they move 6 inches. They're not fast boys. So they played a very different game. But now I think, aside from Berserker Warband, which still has advance and charge and a lot of offensive pressure from a staged up position, most of the sort of standard World Eaters ideas that are coming out rely on baiting your opponent and waiting for them to have to come at you and trade down or at least like start playing 40k and you winning that brawl in the midboard. And whether you're doing it with 80 jackals and a lot of skulls, whether you're doing it with Gore-Track that gets 3 units out of rhinos in the same turn and goes for it, the best lists for World Eaters now are ones that make your opponent come to you and make them suffer when they do that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of players could do with Cult of Blood what they're doing with Vessels or Gore-Track or any of the things. Part of it is just painting that many jackals.
It's a big part of it.
It's a big part of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hobby lag on it, and I understand that it's not something that you necessarily want to do a lot of the time. You are building
Either
jackals.
love it or hate it, right?
Exactly. You're building the models to run exactly one list. You don't run this many jackals outside of Cult of Blood. I don't think you're in more than 10, maybe 20 outside of any other detachment now. So it's a big buy-in point.
Yeah. But it's awesome.
But no, it is. It's fantastic, and I'd very much recommend giving it a go. If Lord of Skulls is not your style, he trades instantly for Angron and a Hellbrute. If you don't want to run any of the big guys, 3 Demon Princes is a very good list for
I like the 3 Prince builds, yeah.
Yeah, and you can get away with 3 Princes. Well, you swap the class out for a 3rd Prince, add in another Forge Fiend, and you've still got 155 points. That can be a 3rd Forge Fiend if you want to. If your terrain doesn't suit a 3rd Forge Fiend, you can take 3 more 8-bound. You can take another 20 Jackals. Go up to 108 Cultists. You don't have to take a lot of skulls. In my experience, all 5 of my games, he did not come even close to trading up. Not once. Yeah. But he ran the event for me. If it was because my opponents weren't putting stuff out because they were scared of what it could do. If they were putting stuff out because they were scared of what it could do if they didn't deal with it right now. He bought the list time in a way that almost nothing else can do. Even Angron. Like, people disrespect Angron at this point because they either have seen him or they've heard about him. Like, people have heard how much Angron got nerfed going into this codex. And they look at him and they say, okay, he's 385 points. What's he going to do? He's going to charge into a unit of cultists or a unit of marines, and he's going to maybe kill them. Probably not, to be honest, because he's not actually very good anymore. And then I get to kill him. And for some reason, despite a lot of skulls doing exactly that, people haven't quite cottoned on yet to the fact.
It's just the terror of the numbers, you know?
Exactly, yeah. It's what the guns can do. And it's what the melee can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I took a lot of skulls for this to deal with knights. I never actually had to play against knights. But I was really pleased that it played into 2 different, very Terminator-heavy lists. And did as well as it did, because jackals have no right to be killing Terminators. And
here we are, though.
Here they are.
And we do love that. Awesome. Well, that was a great recap. Very, very informative. I hope all the Cult of Blood aficionados who have been waiting for this really enjoyed it. I loved it. It was a great chat. It was great meeting you again at Dearg Doom. Hopefully, we'll
And
catch you
you.
there for another one at
Yeah,
some points in the
absolutely.
future, or I'll be over for the UKTC. But yeah, awesome. As always, Josie, an absolute pleasure.
And
Uh,
you.
and to everyone watching, thank you so much for sticking with us. Do all the YouTube usual algorithm stuff, like, comment, subscribe, check out our Discord, check out our Patreon, all the good stuff. Until the next one, folks, I've been Dara. This has been Josie. You've been watching Skulltakers on the Red Path. So stay healthy, stay safe, and kill, maim, burn.